Hello everyone and welcome back to the video. So today I'm going to be covering one of the more slept on unique units in the game, and it's something that I feel like should be probably played a lot more often just because it's kind of an insane unique unit, and that is the Hun Tarkin. So basically the Tarkin is a really strong cavalry unit that excels against archers and buildings. Now you might think its stats are just weaker than a paladin, but it actually has a really big advantage over the paladin stat wise, which is the extra pierce armor. So having 8 pierce armor just makes them completely insane versus Arbalest. And today we're going to be doing some tests. We're going to try out 30 Tarkins versus 60 Arbalest, then 30 on 30 versus Cavalier, and then I'm going to show you how fast they can take down a Portuguese castle, like a 5,800 HP castle, and then try them up against some Britain champion, 45 champions here lined up, just to give you guys a bit of a taste of how this unit will perform in a real game. There's no point of trying them out against Paladin because they do lose the one-on-one versus Paladin, but I want to see how they stack up against Cavalier. Now, this might seem unfair because Elite Tarkin should, in theory, be stronger than Cavalier, and it's maybe a more expensive technology, but the idea of the Tarkin is that it's actually very fast to tech into because the Elite upgrade comes in very quickly, and that's really all you need. You can also make them from the stable if you get the Marauders technology for Huns, but you really don't even need that as well. You can just make them from castles if you have multiple castles. It just depends on the game situation. Like if you have 4 castles, you don't need Marauders, and if you have only 1 castle, you're not on stone, then just pick up Marauders and then make stable. So both can work, and I think that this unit especially just completely destroys archers. So if you're playing as the Huns and you're on like heavy cav archer, or just like cav archers and castlage, your opponent's on like elite skirm, crossbow, and he's trying to counter you, you can go up to imp and just switch into Tarkin and completely destroy him one shot. And let me just show you how these guys do up against these Arbalests real quick. So 30 Hun Tarkins here. Take a look at the stats if you want to kind of check that out. And then versus 60 Arbalests here. I'm going to bunch up the Arbalest and just patrol into the Tarkins. Now, obviously, Halberdier mixed in with the Arbalest will make things tricky. But the idea of the Tarkins is that you want to be like a surprise kind of transition with them. And you're not trying to like give your opponent time to react to them. You're trying to like set up the Tarkin transition, stock up like 20, 30 of them, and then send them in one shot. Because after you clear the initial army, you can run straight for the buildings. You don't need trebuchets. You don't need any heavy siege. The Tarkins themselves can take out town centers and castles very easily. So, as you can see, absolute slaughter here. It's not even close. And that's 60 Arbalests, by the way. Chances are your opponents will have something similar to this, probably even less. Excuse me, I am sick. But he's probably going to have a little bit less Arbalest than this. And he's going to get completely cleaned up, and then 22 Tarkins left out of 30 is pretty insane. So that was obviously what they excel at. And the point I want to make here is that Paladin is a very long transition, and it's very hard to get the Paladin transition down against Archer civs. But for Huns, going for a Tarkin transition is a lot more realistic because the upgrade, I don't want to misquote, but I think it's 1,000 food, 500 gold. Yeah, 1,000 food, 500 gold. And then right away, after you get the armor upgrades, you basically have an extremely tanky cavalry unit that is amazing with archers and can take down buildings as well. So let's try them out versus the Cavalier here real quick just to see how they do, because I'm personally curious to see who wins and by how much. It should be the Tarkin who wins, but we'll have to wait and see. Again, it might seem unfair. This is a Portuguese Cavalier, by the way, so just a generically upgraded Cavalier. It might seem unfair that I'm trying Cavalier, not Paladin. Again, the point is, Paladin would completely destroy the Tarkin, and we know that, but I just want to see how Cavalier would fare. And it seems like it's quite even. So, as you can see, the Tarkin, it's mainly just used to counter archer units and not a great counter to melee units. So if it was this close versus the Cavalier, in fact the Tarkins did actually lose, you can see that it's really not the strongest unit to, to counter. How do I change into that? There you go. It's really not the strongest unit to counter melee units, or to that does well into melee units. You really want to only use it versus range units for the most part. But this is the coolest part. Let me show you how fast they can take down a castle here, because that's extremely crucial part of the Tarkin's kit is wiping mass armies of archers, and then as they're going for a halberdier transition, they're going to switch to halbs, switching to cavalier, something to deal with the Tarkins. You want to run in and kill all their castles and their town centers. And just look how fast this goes down. I mean, keep in mind, these aren't siege units. These are just cavalry units. You can run in and just absolutely take out castles. This one even has masonry. Or is that hoardings? No, it should be like masonry architecture. So it has upgrades to bump it up, and it's still going down so fast. Like, you only lost 3 Tarkans to kill an entire castle. And that was, what, in the span of 40 seconds? Maybe even less? It's extremely hard to react to, and it's probably the best use for this unit. Like I said, you wipe out the army of arbalists or archers or skirmishers, whatever they were on in Castle Age, and then you just run in straight for the kill. You don't give them any time to react. And just as like a kind of a bonus thing, I just want to see how they do against infantry, because why not, really? I assume this is going to be a pretty bad fight for the Tarkans. It's 45 champions. Let's just see how they fare against them. Chances are you're not going to be dealing with infantry like very often, but let's just take a look and see how the Tarkans are doing here against the champions. Pretty okay. Yeah, the problem is that, generally speaking, if you're going to be on cavalry units like the Tarkan, the opponents tend to be on halbs and not champions. So this is really just a kind of random bonus clip just to show you how they can fare against infantry. And we did win this fight, but like I said, if they had 5 more champions, who knows what happens. And overall, it's just not that impressive. So just to recap here, I just wanted to make a quick video showcasing the Tarkan. I don't think we see it played as often as it probably should be. I think the Tarkan is extremely crazy against archer civs, and it kind of works a little bit like the Gulam, like the Husk Girl, where it completely counters archer line, skirmisher line. The Tarkan transition completely counters that, and it basically forces your opponent to transition into a counter unit. Whereas, let's say if you're on Paladin, your opponent can just stay on Arbalest, maybe mix in a couple monks and be fine. They don't necessarily need a halberd to transition. If they have a big ball of Arbalest, they're going to be fine for a little bit, so they have more time to set it up. But with Tarkans, you don't give them the time. You can just dive 60 Arbalest, no problem, completely wipe them as we saw earlier, and just snowball from there. So that's kind of the big difference between Tarkan and Paladin, and just something I want to cover in a quick video. Thanks for watching, and let me know what you want to see next week on this kind of mini-series that we're doing on Monday, where I take a look at some maybe unique units or maybe some different units that we don't usually see every day or in every game. So thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys next time.